And we mentioned, we were connecting the dots with Jim Schwartz. So this was Jim Schwartz. He knows exactly what's getting Rodney McLeod. Back in 2019, when Rodney McLeod played for Jim Schwartz, was coming off an injury. This is Jim Schwartz talking about Rodney McLeod getting back on the field for the Eagles from 2019.
He's such a calming influence on our team, on our defense in particular, and he does such a good job of communicating and executing the scheme. And it was good to have him back out there. We look forward to a great year from him. Just like some guys are like super rah-rah guys, like getting guys jacked up. He's one of those guys that everybody just knows it's going to be okay when he's in there. And I think there's an important part of that too. He's stone cold with his communication. He's always in the right spot, do his job. I mean, those guys are valuable. Not everybody has to be, rah-rah. Sometimes it's, a combination of that. And not that Rodney doesn't play with a lot of fire, he does. But I think when he's back there, his corners, his nickels, his linebackers, they all get a nice sense of calm because he's such a good communicator. He keeps them ahead of problems on the defense and puts everybody in good position.
Tom, the reason I play that is Browns fans love to hear that because there were a lot of guys that were not in position a season ago.
Yeah, you can play that same clip, I think, when the Browns had camp and they introduced Rodney McLeod, right? I think that's exactly what they needed out there. We've talked about that the last couple of years. John Johnson did fill that role, and obviously he was coming here from a championship situation in Los Angeles. But here's a guy who knows the new coordinator better than anybody, and he's going to be able to convey that message that Jim Schwartz is trying to get across to guys in the meeting rooms and on the practice field. So, yeah, really an ideal pickup. Let's be honest, as much as last year was about not having Deshaun Watson on the field for 11 weeks, that defense woefully underperformed, and it began at the beginning of the season with the communication breakdowns in the secondary. So I think having an anchor back there like him, a guy who's made 138 career starts in the NFL, is a perfect addition for a team that still has some needs, but has definitely checked off a lot of the boxes in this offseason.
Yeah, and still playing at a high level. We showed you the grades from a season ago, so 33, but still playing at a high level. Let's take a look.
33 is young.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. I feel you. In football terms, not so much. Don't know that I would be able to chase some guys down that he might have to.
Very true, but you got to remember, too, that he's not necessarily going to be coming in a starting role, right? He's going to be kind of that backup, and from what I understand, Schwartz has all kinds of different looks he tries to throw out there on defense. So they're going to move people around. Delpit is also one of those guys who you look at and he doesn't necessarily look like a safety as much as he does an outside linebacker. So, he's one of those interchangeable parts, I think, along with, JOK that Schwartz wants to get his hands on and move some people around. So not going to be surprised if I see all three of those safeties out there at times.